Alrighty, what is good, my people? So I'm going to go over the 15-second, the 30-second, and the 1 minute in regards to my scalping model and kind of go over each setup that was presented and kind of explain it because there are a couple things for the people in my Discord. Some of the examples y'all are sending, there is a couple little things that y'all were doing wrong. So I kind of want to clear that up and make sure everybody's on the same page. Because I think a couple people took some unnecessary losses that were not valid. So first off, the 15-second, I believe it went 9-1. We'll go over that. So 9 wins, 1 loss, resulting in roughly 8R for the morning session. The 30-second model, a little bit questionable today, didn't perform as I expected, but given the conditions we had, if you saw the first open like 30 minutes, it was horrible. Actually, I'll just show you real quick. It was this disgusting. Expanded off open and then chop. So that's something to keep in mind. That's kind of why I was analyzing the 15-second more, is because usually when we have quite a bit of chop, ideally it's more proficient and better to be looking at the 15-second chart, because the opportunities it's going to basically prevent you from getting faked out, which sounds weird because it's on a lower time frame, but it's actually pretty true. So the 30-second, I believe, went 3-4, 3 wins, 4 losses, 2 of those being TP break even. So it was a red day for the 30-second model. 15-second, not at all, 9-1. And then the 1 minute, I believe, went 3-1. So getting into the 15-second, we'll kind of go over this. So as the model states, we begin our hunt at 8:40 unless there is 9 a.m. news. If there's 9 a.m. news, 9 times out of 10, we're going to wait until news post to even begin, because we're expecting chop prior to that news release. But today we only had, I believe it was 10-year bond auction, which is, I think, occurring right now, possibly. But besides the point, we'll go ahead and get into this. So the first setup we had right here, we broke this swing high point right over here, right? So we get our fair value gap right there. We draw our gone box. We set our limit at the top yellow line because it's long. So this one's a little bit questionable because I've had a couple plays like this where it comes down to the tick and then won't fill me for like an exit. So this one's kind of a toss-up. I'm not sure if I should count this as an expense or a loss. I'm realistically going to count it as a TP break even because that's what it would have been. So there's that one. That's the first one. Then this next one we had right here, no fair value gaps underneath right here. We shifted above that high right there with displacement. We had a fair value gap there. We mark it out with our gone box, put a limit in right at the top yellow line. Digs a little deeper, bounces off this order block right here. Could be deemed as a propulsion block if you know, you know. This did go 15.75 points, so it would have hit our 6, our 12, so we would have only realistically had one con off, just depending where you're pulling off. So moving on, none right here, none that fit within the entry criteria. The next opportunity we got presented with was right here. We broke this little short-term swing high point right there, put in right there. We get a fair value gap. We draw our gone box. We set our limit at the top yellow line. And we get tagged in right there, almost 0 drawdown. It does come down a little bit, but the body closes right at my gone level. Coincidence, eh? This one did. This is a full W. This hit all TPs. So that would have been about 1.5R. And then getting into the next setup we had right here, nothing over here that fit within the entry. This swing point wasn't closed through. Remember, a body has to close through it. I'll go over an example in a second of why some of the examples y'all were sending in the Discord were a little invalid. But getting into this one right here, what do we have? Swing high point, fair value gap created after breaking that little short-term high. We draw our gone box, set our limit at the top yellow line. This one went 12, so it would have hit 6 and 12. So 2 targets hit right there. Scanning through this, no other setups I see are valid right here. This being the next one. No, this wasn't. Okay, yeah, right here. So also kind of going over to this because I'm sure some people have questions about this one right over here. Usually 9 times out of 10, we did displace above that high with the body close, but you realistically, you want the candle that creates the fair value gap. That's the one you want to close below a low, not the top part, not the bottom part, or what can't be the bottom part, but the top part for a long, and then the bottom one for a short. But that should clear up some questions on that one. Getting into this one right here, so obviously we have the fair value gap candle, the one that creates it right here. That's the one that displays the low. We get our gone. We draw it on our fair value gap right there. Set a limit at the bottom yellow line. As you can see, we get tagged in here. We have like 2 ticks or maybe a point of drawdown right there. And then this one goes all the way down to, where did it go to? It almost hit our 18 points. It hit our 6 and our 12. So that's another W on the 15-second. So getting into this next one right here, this was a L. This is just a plain Jane loser. This did look pretty good. I was watching this in real time. We reprice off this fair value gap, so all these under here could be deemed temporarily as breakaway gaps. So right here, we have this short-term high put in right there. We displace above it with a baby little fair value gap right here. As you can see, this one comes down. I believe this is the only loser for this morning's session on this one. Besides that first one, that's still a little bit questionable, but moving on from that, the next valid one, as you can see, nothing was broken, nothing, well, we did break some swing low points, but nothing fit within the entry criteria. So moving on, this is the next solid setup that we got right here is we reprice off this fair value gap. So what can we deem this temporarily as? A breakaway gap. So right up here, we reprice off that. We put in a short-term high right there, break it, have a fair value gap created right there, and then we draw our gone box limit at the top yellow line. As you can see, we get tagged in right on the second candle. It almost comes to our break-even point. Break-even point was right here. It was about 2 points away, so that we wouldn't have been stopped break-even here. So 6 points hit on that candle right there, comes up, tags us out at 12 right there, and then tops out at about 14.25. So this would have been another W. 2 targets hit, 2 cons pulled off, depending how much you're risking. You're using micros or minis. Getting into the next valid setup, we have nothing over here fit within the entry criteria, of course. No fair value gaps created with solid displacement. No swing low points that really I entertained. The next setup we had right here, yet again, this is one of my favorite signatures to see in price, is a fair value gap rebalance and then displace off of that, and then I get my scalp setup. That's an A+ scalp in my eyes. I've yet to see, I think I've seen maybe one loser in the past like 20 opportunities that this has presented exactly. So right here, what do we get? We reprice off that. We get our fair value gap right here. We break this short-term low over here. We get our fair value gap. We draw our gone box limit at the top yellow line. As you can see, yet again, barely any drawdown on this. This one went 12, so it's gone break even right here. Pulled another one off at 12, and then it bottomed out before stopping us at break even at 14. So yet another W with that one. And then getting into this next one right here, this was another good solid trade. This obviously wouldn't be valid. We didn't come up within 2 candles, and then we have open fair value gaps up there. So this next one right here, we kind of dabble around. We consolidate a little bit, and then we begin expanding upwards. We get a short-term high put in right there with a fair value gap on that. We're breaking that high on the candle that creates the fair value gap yet again. So we get our gone box, we get our fair value gap, draw our gone box in it, set our limit at the top yellow line, toss a limit in there, and as you can see, yet again, maybe a point and a half of drawdown. We come up, we hit 12 points again, so 6, so 2 cons would be off there. We'd come get stop break even right about there. So this next one, you'd have to be super, super quick to catch this because we would have been stopped at break even right here. You just have to have a quick eye. As you kind of back test this model more and get more screen time with it, you'll be able to catch stuff like this when it happens right after. So this one right here, obviously, we put in a tiny little short-term low right here, come up a little bit, fill this volume imbalance, and then we displace lower, get a baby little fair value gap. We set our limit at the top or the bottom yellow line. As you can see, it does dig up a little bit more, but remember the wicks do the damage, the bodies show true action. As you can see, we are still respecting bearish PD raise here. So been tagged in, this one did go. This would have only hit our break-even point before stopping. So it went 6 and then bottomed out at 9.75. So I believe that was the last, because 1030 is over here. That was the last setup that was presented for the 15-second. Like I said, it did go 9-1. So give or take about 8R if you're trading on the 15-second this morning. I usually like to bounce back and forth between 30-second and the 15-second if price action's good. Today would have been a great day for the 15-second just because like I said, the first opening 30 minutes of the market was terrible. So we'll go ahead and get into the 30-second. Like I said, it was a little bit garbage today. Not going to lie, but that's expected, especially when we have, A, we had contracts rolling over. B, it was a Monday with no red folder news. We did have the 10-year bond auction, but that was later in PM. So my hopes weren't really high today for this model, or not the model in particular, just price action in general. I wasn't expecting a whole lot. 15-second obviously fucking printed, but 30-second was a little bit today. I think it was basically a break-even day for me because towards the end of my trading time frame, I hopped down to the 15-second, caught a couple plays on there. So first opportunity we had today was right up here. Obviously, we displaced above this high right here. No open fair value gaps off here. We repriced off of that one. Actually, I kind of want to explain why this is invalid. Well, obviously, we break above this high. This would have been a W, but we have open fair value gaps down here. So none of them were repriced off of. So the first opportunity, valid opportunity we had was right here. This one did almost come to our break even before reversing on us and taking us out. Right idea at the wrong time because we got wicked out by 2-ish points, and then it came up, would have hit a couple targets. But getting into the next one, this right here, not sure if this would have really fully tagged us in here. And I mean, it's invalid anyways because we have this little fair value gap up here. This one wouldn't have got tagged in within 2. Wouldn't deem this as probable because we have an open fair value gap down here. So getting into the next opportunity that was presented us, that was valid. We repriced off this fair value gap. We're continuing to hold it. And then we came up, we displaced above this high. This is a kind of a bad setup in my eyes because we've reached just, obviously we're in a premium market, not that this matters, but if we're get a setup and we sweep liquidity like right here, this low resistance liquidity, and we kind of wick down like this, it's not very high probable because you're kind of playing against what the market's likely to do, but it's still valid if you're looking at this through mechanical glasses. So obviously another L there. As the market flipped right here, we did break this short-term low right here. We would have set our limit at the bottom yellow line, got tagged in there. This did chop around for a little bit, came to our 6 points, and then reversed and stopped us at a break even. If it didn't, it would have gone far past our 18-point threshold. So getting into the next one. So right there, we'd be 2 losses, 1 TP break even. And then this next example right here, we have no open fair value gaps up here. We break this short-term low right here. We place a limit there at the bottom yellow line. Obviously, this just reverses yet again. This is kind of where I like to almost sometimes throw in structure, especially in unprobable conditions, because what we respect during there is a bullish order block. If we would have maybe we're in the middle of this range and had it come down to this point, it would have been a little bit higher probability to me, but it's not personally, I would probably still take that just because data reasons. But that's that one. And then the next valid one was, I believe, another TP break even. Yeah. So we reprice. This is the signature I like to see is reprice off fair value gap, displace up or down for given the scenario. And then we get our scalp setup presented. So right here, we repriced off this. So we can deem this as temporary breakaway. We would have got tagged in to the tick right there. 0 drawdown would have came up and stopped us or hit our break even point, and then it reversed and then came down. So depends if you're pulling one off at 6 or not, but that was that one. And then I'm getting into the next one. None of this fit within the entry criteria. 2 fair value gaps. Didn't come up. Open fair value gap right there, so this isn't valid. Even though that probably would have hit TP. We break this low right here. Yeah, so we repriced off this fair value gap right here. Came down here, got filled there, and reversed. On that one. Okay, this I believe this is the last one of the session. So right here, like I said, this is a signature I like to see. We have fair value gap here. We repriced off of. We displaced down. We get our signature or our scalp setup presented to us. And I know, I think someone in the Discord caught this one, but this one just absolutely melted after we got filled. There's basically probably a tick or two of drawdown and then immediately dumped to all of our targets right there. So That was the last 30-second opportunity. I'll go over the 1-minute ones real quick. Let me go ahead and clear these. So we can mark out our 840 right here. Our first 1-minute opportunity would have been presented. Let's see if we can find it. Oh, this is what I wanted to go over. There's a couple reasons this is not valid. If we wick, so this high right here, I saw someone send this in the Discord specifically, and I immediately was like, I need to cover this because in my eyes, I would not even be entertaining this. If we wick, I want to see strong displacement A. If this candle doesn't close above this high right here, and we wick through it like this, and then this one closes above, I don't count that. I don't like that. So keep that in mind. That's something I wanted to kind of clear up. It has to fully close. So like if this candle would have closed, like say like right up here instead of right there at the exact point, this would have been 100% valid. But since it didn't, I do not like it. So the next 1-minute opportunity, if we can find. So the first one was a L. I think this is the only loser it had. So we repriced off this for a value gap. This may have been an L. I don't remember exactly. Yeah, no, 100% was. So we repriced off that for a value gap. Broke the short-term low right here. Would have put our limit right at that yellow line. Right there. Scalp short. So we got stopped out pretty quick on that, but part of the game. No one's ever going to win every single fucking trade. So keep that in mind. So the next valid opportunity we had right here, this is invalid right here because we have two fair value gaps. We have this open one, so placing a limit down at this bottom one wouldn't really be smart for the scalp setup. At least the data I have, I like to wait for some more structure to form and just overall kind of clean up a little bit. So, but right under it, what do we have? We reprice off this fair value gap, continue to displace lower, break this low right here. We get our gone box right here. Draw it out, place a limit right at there. Scalp short plus. This one absolutely melted again to all TPs. And then right after, we would have got tagged out on this candle right here. We had a pyramid, so we broke this low again right here. We get our gone box. Set a limit right at that yellow line right there. This one melted again. So 2 dubs back to back, and then yet again we had another one set up. This one was I believe a break even. So we would have got tagged in right there. Scalp short plus. Yeah, so we would have gone break even right there, and then it bottomed out at 10.5. It almost hit the 12 target, but it didn't. And I believe that was the last valid 1-minute setup that gave us an entry. So it did go 3-1. But yeah, that's kind of, I hope that kind of cleared up some information in regards to like specific entry requirements. You want the body to close. If it wicks through it and closes under it, and then the next one closes above it, do not, no, no, that doesn't count. I mean, this repeats so often that if something like I'll tell you right now, if something tells you that it's looking a little bit questionable, just wait for the next one. I've had multiple times where it's done that, and it's been a winner, but I don't care because I get another one set up right after. So kind of, let's see, I'm trying to find some more examples to kind of clear up any questions. I think I kind of answered what I wanted to cover. Like I said, the 15-second did go absolutely fucking bonkers today. I think that was the main thing, was not where the candle closes, because it has to be very specific. I'm looking for a very, very specific just signature and price. I'm trying to find an example. I don't know if I can find one exactly. Yeah, I don't think I see. Oh, well, no, that wouldn't even work anyway. No. Trying to see. I think that was really like one of the only ones. It was on the 1M. yeah, scouring through this. But if y'all have any questions, just let me know, and I'll try and, like I said, I'll try and answer as many as I can. Today was, like I said, decent day. Could have been a lot better, especially for the people on the 30-second chart. Just times like this, usually when conditions are a little bit improbable, like I said, I do like dropping down to the 15-second because somehow, some way, it actually kind of helps prevent some unnecessary losers. So that was, it is December 11th, by the way. So that was Monday's PA kind of go over, and should be it. If y'all, like I said, if y'all have any questions, either shoot me a message in Discord if you're in there. Right now it's closed, or on Twitter. Either or works.